Hey everybody, Miss Galad here. Hey, happy Friday. I hope you enjoyed the musical selection that I chose for you today. We've got a few things that we need to accomplish, so I thought it'd be best for me to make a video lesson. So at this time, please dig out your brand new yellow note packets, and turn to page 3. You can go ahead and pause this video until you see everybody has their yellow packets out. Today, we're going to continue our discussion from yesterday, solving using graphing. And today's graphs are going to be a little bit more involved because they are not going to be in slope-intercept form. So on the very bottom of page 3, we're going to start with this one, and this is kind of a special one. A few of you might have tried this. If not, we're going to go ahead and get started today right on this one. So solve the system of equations by graphing. So I hope the first thing that you notice is that here's my fancy bracket, so it's a system. And our job is to look at these two set of equations and find out what is the x and the y that makes them both true. And it's got to be the same. And so our solution, I'm just going to write it here because I might run out of space, is going to be an xy value that satisfies both of these equations. But the problem here is when I'm looking at 2x plus 3y equals 6, I'm noticing that that's not in slope-intercept form. And so we've got to go through the process of getting the y alone. So to get that y alone, I need to isolate the y. And so I'm going to take 2x off the left. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to take 2x off the right. So minus 2x minus 2x. Now my 2x's cancel, and it's kind of squishy. Sorry about that. And so now I'm left with 3y equals 6 minus 2x. And so just to give myself some space, I'm going to move my work right over here. Okay, so I've got 3y equals 6 minus 2x. Okay, so we still have to get that y alone. To get that y alone, I have to undo multiplying by 3. And so I'm going to go through and I'm going to divide everything by 3 on the left, divide each term by 3 on the right. So when I do that, I hope you notice that you see, 3 divided by 3 cancels to be a 1. So I get y equals, and 6 divided by 3 is 2, minus, and now 2 divided by 3 is a decimal 0.6 repeating, but it's kind of hard to graph 0.6 repeating. So we're just going to leave our slope as a fraction 2/3. So 2 over 3x. And so now we have what we've been looking for. We've got slope-intercept form. Perfect. So I'm going to take my slope here. The measure of my slope, m, is negative 2/3. And I've got to start at my y-intercept 2. So I'm going to make my point right here. And now let's apply your slope. Down to right 3. Down to right 3. Down to right 3. That looks pretty good for right now. And I might do a couple in reverse so that I can see my full line. Up to left 3, up to left 3. There we go. And so when I connect my line here, not bad. Okay, that is now my line, which we had to convert into slope-intercept form. So we got to do the same thing for my next equation. And same thing, I'm going to get the y alone. And so I'm going to find my equal sign to get my y alone. I'm going to remove my 6x from the left. I'm going to come on over and remove my 6x from the right. My 6x's cancel. And I'm left with 9y equals 18 minus 6. So now I'm getting pretty close here, but I'm not finished. I'm drawing with my mouse, so forgive my messy writing here. Divide by 9 on the left, divide each of these by 9 on the right. And so I've got 9 divided by 9, which is 1y, so y equals, and I've got 18 divided by 9, which turns into a 2, and I've got a minus 6/9 x. 6 divided by 9x. Now, there's a couple ways that we could be aware here. So first of all, notice that your b, your y-intercept is 2. So this line is going to start right here. I think I better use red again. And my slope is negative 6 over 9. So I'm going to go down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to go right 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, look at that. And if I want to find my other, I would go up 6, left 9. Hey, I hope you noticed that negative 6/9 is the same as negative 2/3. This is a special system because if I were to graph it, oopsies, I'm going to try to go exactly the same. Hey, these are the same line. They have a solution of infinite solutions. They are identical. So here, this one is kind of special because they have infinite solutions. So that one is kind of tricky. Now, we're going to go ahead and could you, let's go through here. Could you go ahead and switch to the next page? So let's go to, flip it over to page 4. So page 4, I've got 3 word problems. Word problems are always tricky. And so what I want to do is I want to set up the system, set up the word problems, but we are going to use Desmos to graph them. And we'll find our solution in Desmos, and then we'll talk about what that means. So let's take a look at this first one here. I'm looking for my pen. Sometimes it does that classic. There we go. Okay. And so Emma went to the movie theater for her birthday. A mix of adults and children attended, making a total of 19 people. Okay, so first of all, I'm noticing that there's adults and children. So there's 2 variables. We've got kids and we've got adults for a total of 19. So I'm going to make adults my X variable, and I'm going to make children my Y variable. Together, there's a total of 19. Then each adult ticket was $9. So every adult ticket was $9. Each children ticket was $5.50. The total cost, so the money involved, was $150. We want to set up a system to figure out how many adults and how many children attended. So we are trying to use all this information to set up a system to say how many kids, how many adults are equal 19 people, but $150. And so for this system, we need 2 equations. So let's start by making our fancy bracket. Okay, and I know that I need 2 equations here because I'm dealing with 2 situations. I'm dealing with the situation of the number of people. Okay, there's a total that has a total of 19 people, and the second situation is cost. And so we are going to put these 2 equations together to make a system. So let's start with people. Here's what I know. The number of adults plus children equals 19. X plus Y equals 19. Okay, so that equation tells us that there's got to be a total of 19 people, kids, adults. The second equation talks about money. And the money involved, it gives us that each adult ticket was $9. So every adult ticket X is $9. Every child ticket Y is $5.50. Together, that equals $150 spent. So I'm going to start with my equals 150. And now I know each adult ticket is $9. So that's $9 for every adult ticket sold. Plus, it's $5.50 for every kid ticket. 5.5 for every, let me squeeze it in, X. Now, there's our system. Okay, let me put a decimal right here with this because it's 550. And so we want to find a solution for X and for Y that makes both of these true. Now, I could guess and check kids, adults making 19, but the money value also has to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Desmos. Okay, let me see if this works. Going to the, oh, look at that. I'm going to go to Desmos. And in Desmos, I'm going to insert both of these equations, x plus y equals 19. And my second equation is 9x plus 5.5y equals 150. Okay, now here's my graph. And I'm actually going to zoom in because it's kind of hard to see. And so you can kind of zoom. I'm going to get in here. I'm hoping this is showing up on my video. I'm not quite sure, but I'm in Desmos, and here it shows up. My system is 13,6. So 13,6. I'm going to come back here. I've just inserted both of those in Desmos.com, and I use my graphing calculator to say, oh, okay, it is 13,6. So I have 13 for my x and 6 for my y. Now, what does that mean? So remember, 13x, 6y. So if I go back and look over here, the x stands for the number of adults, and the y stands for the number of children. And so that tells me, is it a total of 19 people together? Yep. And so $150, so 13 times 9 plus 6 times 550 also has to equal $150. So that tells me that there were 13 adults and there had to be 9 children tickets in order to satisfy, I'm just going to write child, okay, tickets in order to satisfy this particular system. Okay, and so we set that up, and that's hard. The setup is the hardest part. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. My next equation here, Ethan's football team scored a total of 35 separate times this season. It was a mix of touchdowns and field goals. So they scored 35 separate times with a mix of touchdowns and field goals. Now, each touchdown is worth 7 points, and each field goal is worth 3 points. If the team scores a total of 193 points, how many touchdown field goals did they actually score? So we're going to set up a system again, okay? And this system is made up of 2 things. So first of all, we had a total of 35 different scores. So the first thing that we're talking about is scoring. So different scores, and that was a mixture of touchdowns and field goals. So I'm going to say touchdowns are going to be my X, field goals are going to be my Y. So I've got touchdowns plus field goals must equal 35. There is my first equation. Okay, now my second equation talks about the points of each of these. So a touchdown is worth 7 points. Every X is worth 7. Each field goal is worth 3 points. Each Y is worth 3. Together, their team scored a total of 193 points. So the first equation is about how many scores they had. The second one is how many points they made. And so here's what I know. I know that the number of points is equal to 193. Now, what made up those points? Touchdowns and field goals. So the points, it's 7 points for every touchdown. That's going to be 7 times each X, however many touchdowns they had. Plus, our field goals are worth 3 points. That's 3 times each Y that we have. And so what we've created is a system. Okay, and what I want you to do today is you're going to finish this by going into Desmos and you're going to plug both of these equations in. Okay, and when you plug them in, it does all the work for us. And so, because I'm not sure when I flip screens, if you can see the Desmos, let me try one more. But I'm going to go to the Desmos screen. I'm going to put this in just to find my solution. And so in my Desmos screen here, I'm going to go to my first equation is x plus y equals 35. And my second equation here is 7x plus 3y equals 193. Okay, so when I graph that, I'm going to zoom in right here, and I can see that turns into 2213. So 22 comma 13 is my solution, and that solution looks like this: 22 for x and 13 for y. So what does that mean? Remember, 22 is our number of touchdowns, and 13 is the number of field goals. So as I interpret this, here's what I know. In order to score 35 different times and score 193 points, that would be 22 touchdowns and 13 field goals. So the graph, Desmos graphing calculator, is amazing for these big numbers like this to graph, and it helps us kind of solve these word problems. Now, the last one, okay, the last notes problem here, we're going to finish this one off. And so the last notes problem, if you go to number 6, so Sarah's trying to determine which college to attend. College A costs $200 for room and board, $15 a credit. College B is $100 for room and board, and $25 per credit. So what we're going to do is this one is a comparison. We are comparing college A to college B. And college A starting point is $200 plus $15 per credit. Hey, that sounds like slope and y-intercept. Y equals $200, that's the startup, plus $15 for every credit. There it is, 15x. And my college B, hey, startup is $100. Y equals $100, plus you are charged $25 per credit. And so again, I want you to use Desmos here. You are going to go to Desmos and you are going to plug in both of these equations, and you are going to look for the solution. What's my x? What's my y? Okay. Now in this situation, your x, okay, x is the number of credits, right? That's the number of credits. And y is going to be the total amount of money. And so when you graph this one, you are going to see when these two colleges are equal. When does college A equal college B? That's what you're going to find out. So you are now completely prepared to finish off homework 3. So end of class, homework 7.1 is due. Level 1, you did Wednesday. Level 2 was Thursday. Today, you are finishing up level 3. So dig out that homework. For question 5, A, B, and C, I want you to solve these equations by graphing. I want to see, get the y alone. So here, this y is already alone. Hey, this is an easy one. Y equals -1. Remember, that's our horizontal line. But for the top equation, you got to get this y alone before you can graph it. So minus 5x, you're going to get the y alone to graph so that you can find what is the solution to this system. Letter B, you're going to have to get both of these y's alone to graph. Letter C, oh, the top equation is already alone, so that's good. You have to get this equation alone. You have to get the y alone to graph here. So you've got 3 trickier graphs to finish. And then if you look at the very bottom, you've got 2 word problems. I want you to create the equations and then graph them on Desmos to find your solutions. Okay, and then interpret it. So this is due at the end of the hour. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I will see all of you on Monday. All right, have a good day.